So in this segment, I usually talk about a JRPG I'm looking forward to, or a JRPG that I would look forward to, as in a hypothetical JRPG. And this week I'm going to be doing the hypothetical JRPG route. So a JRPG that I would look forward to, and I thought this was a pretty cool idea, is a Trails game that focused on Ouroboros, or the Secret Society, or whatever they're called. And the reason I thought about this is because I was kind of thinking about Kingdom Hearts and kind of like the different games they've tried. And one of my favorite games from the series, honestly, is Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. And if you don't know what that is in Kingdom Hearts, there is a bad guy organization called the Organization 13, and Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days is from the perspective of the organization. So you're playing as a character from the organization. Pretty much all the villains that you usually think of as villains are your quote-unquote co-workers, and you kind of get to see sides of the personality that you usually don't, and you just pretty much play the game from that perspective, which I thought was very interesting. And Ouroboros is just a society in Trails, which throughout all 10, 11, 12 Trails games, wherever we are at this point, they have just been an organization that's in the background, and they've had villains, they've had people that have been on our side, but at the end of the day, they still are mostly antagonistic. And so I thought it would be very cool if we can just have a game from their perspective, because their characters are so interesting. So much of the characters that we know that are in our gang are from Ouroboros. So much of the characters that we know that aren't on our side are from Ouroboros. They're very eccentric, they're cool, they have very distinct personalities, they have distinct designs, and there already have been sections of the game where you kind of have had to work with them, where like you kind of go on their side and you kind of get to meet them, and you are in their not headquarters, but you've been on a ship with them essentially. And so I would love a game that you're purely pretty much on their side, and you are, I don't know if they would make it like you're just an original character, or you're a character that we already know, but a game from the Ouroboros perspective I think would just be very cool personally. And in terms of what the game would be, I'm honestly not sure, because they could go the route of going the normal Trails game, where like they make this a mainline Trails game and it's called like Trails Ouroboros or some shit, I'm not sure. But then that would be like a very like, full-on story-based 60-hour campaign or whatever. And while that would be the dream, I feel like this idea doesn't have to be limited to a full game. Like I feel like this could even be a smaller game, because if this was a game that was story oriented but still maybe like mission based, or maybe it was, honestly I could even see like a mobile game or something if they really want to, where you are a person in Ouroboros and you just gotta work for them, and you kind of have interactions with like characters like Blue Blanc. And even if the game took place in the past, it would be very cool. Maybe you get to interact with Joshua or Ren, maybe Leon, and maybe you have like Duvali and all of them. It'd be very cool to like be able to interact with them in the game if it was like more of a mini smartphone game. But if it was like a more full-on story game, I feel like an original character wouldn't work. I think they would either create an original character, but that's not like a customizable character, but an original character that they make. But I feel like the best route for them to do, if they were to do this, and spoilers for Trails of Cold Steel if you haven't played that. If you have not played it, I would say just skip to the next segment at this point, but I will be spoiling a character that is a part of Ouroboros now, which is kind of very cool when they showed this. But one of the spoiler starting, one of the characters that is now in Ouroboros is Cedric, which is Olivert's and Alphen's brother. He is one of the princes of Erebonia. But pretty much I think at the end of 4 or 3, I can't remember which one, it pretty much shows that he's not evil or anything, but he doesn't feel like he deserves to be on the good side anymore, so he decides to join Ouroboros. And I believe they showed clips of him. I can't remember if it was in Reverie. I think it was in Reverie. I think it's one of the daydreams, but they show him kind of struggling through the process of getting recruited into Ouroboros and stuff like that. But I feel like he's low enough in Ouroboros where they can have a game where maybe you play a Cedric and you see him kind of climb up in Ouroboros. And it would if this was a mainline game, it would be really fucking cool if this game was about Cedric, you playing as him, starting at the bottom of Ouroboros, climbing up and becoming one of the Anguisses, and then the next game it would just take place where he's already an Anguis now. Because again, I won't go to spoilers, but Reverie ended very interestingly, where it's kind of focused on Ouroboros. And so if Cedric was a part of that plan, it'd be very cool if he's like already on the top, and the way it's explained is through a game like this. But yeah, just personally, when I thought about this idea, I think Cedric would be the best character to be played in this type of game. And they can obviously go different routes. You can even do like, if it takes place in the past instead of the future, it could be maybe you play as Joshua. I'm not sure how fun that would be, because I feel like Joshua was more like emotionless and not really a character until he kind of left Ouroboros. But again, I think Cedric would be the best route to go if it was a main style game, or if they did a more mini mission based smartphone type game. I think at that point you just create a character, customizable character you get to play as, and you just play through Ouroboros, and you just have like fun scenes with some of the characters, and you just do missions, and at that point it'd be kind of like a gacha game or whatever. But personally, I'd prefer more of the mainline game where you get to play as Cedric and you have like this proper story and arc of him going up through Ouroboros. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on wanting a JRPG that would be an Ouroboros focused game from Tearal, akin to Kingdom Hearts 350 over 2 days.